Well, howdy, and welcome to Conversations with Coyotes. My name is Bravado, I am a coyote, and this is The Conversation. I've been having a lot of conversations with friends recently that are rooted in streetwear and sneaker culture, and to be fair, a good portion of those are aesthetically minded, whether it's a mutual admiration or maybe just confusion about certain fashion choices. But there's also some based in marketing, which I find infinitely interesting, and also sociologically, because it's just another example of how people use fashion to sort of tell a story about themselves. And as we were talking more about it, I was struck with the realization that there are some parallels between fashion and furry culture, for better or for worse, and it felt like something I had to talk a little more about. Now, like I said, you use your clothes to tell a story, and I think that happens whether you realize it or not. To some extent, it's showcased in your own individual personality, but to a greater extent, you're dressing the way you dress because you want to fit in with the group that you want to fit into, whether that's wearing a business suit because you work a corporate job and you want to show that you're part of corporate culture, or wearing a baseball cap and a Twins jersey when you go to a baseball game because you want to fit in and support the local team, or wearing a black North Face jacket because you live in Minneapolis and that's the only thing you're allowed to wear when it gets remotely cold outside. But regardless, it helps you assimilate into a culture, and that's exactly what we do as furries as well. We wear animal costumes because we want to show our own individual character, but we bond because we all are wearing animal costumes and we're willing to take this step of looking ridiculous together. Now, another thing you'll notice between fashion and furry is that the really sought after items cost a lot of money, but there's no shortage of people willing to pay for them. And that's because there's this idea of scarcity in both. You're paying for the privilege of owning the item and not just the item itself. Now with streetwear, it's kind of strange because it's sort of artificial. I mean, there's nothing that would prevent these companies from making more of this particular shoe or shirt or whatever, but they don't, and that's a marketing tactic. But that just means that that's your opportunity to own that shirt, and if you really want it, you either have to try to get it when it comes out, or you have to buy it from somebody else afterward. With fursuits, it's different because it's actual scarcity. These artists are only able to make maybe in the low double digits per year of suits, if that, and so there's an extremely limited amount to go around to the thousands of people who want to get a suit, and that's why the prices are where they are. To be fair, the prices are now kind of becoming more appropriate for what really is a piece of art and requires hundreds of hours of work. But the point is, people want these badly enough that they're willing to pay for it. And that's why you see some of these auctions selling for insane amounts, because it's a sure thing. It's the ability to say, well, I have this amount of money, I could have this thing for sure, instead of taking my chances and trying to get into a queue and having to wait this much longer to get a suit. And there's nothing wrong with that. The issue, though, is that fashion is very aesthetically minded. You are kind of defined by what you wear, just by definition. Furry, though, is not, and there's this sort of belief some people have that if you don't have a fursuit, you don't count as a real furry, and that's really sad and couldn't be further from the truth, because to be a real furry, here's a list of all the things you need. 1, you need to say, I'm a real furry. That's it. There's no other paperwork you gotta fill out, there's no hoops you gotta jump through, and most importantly, there's no dress code. Furry isn't about how you look, it's about how you feel, and that's what makes it so different from fashion. And so I hope that if you know anybody who's sort of feeling down on themselves because they don't have a suit, or if you know someone who feels like not having a suit makes you less of a furry, show them this and remind them that it's not the case. Now, I realize that this may all come across as somewhat disingenuous or even hypocritical, because I'm sitting here in a suit talking to y'all about how difficult it is to get a fursuit. And I'm sorry if that's off-putting to you. And I hope you'll trust me when I say that having a fursuit isn't a one-size-fits-all solution to life's problems. It's not gonna make you a legit furry, and it's not gonna bring you instant popularity, even though sometimes it feels like that could be the case. The thing about popularity is people who don't deserve it seem to find it more often than not, and sometimes people who do deserve it never find it, and that's just how things work out. And all you can do is just sort of accept it, move along in life, and support the people who you feel deserve it. And I'm going to do the same, and I'm going to catch y'all later.